Welcome to Mac and Bleu, the cutting-edge podcast for the nation's builders, merging the realms of construction with exciting advancements in technology. Join us on a thrilling journey where we delve into the dynamic world of blockchain, AI, the metaverse, virtual and augmented reality, and their transformative impact on the industry. Our engaging discussions span a wide spectrum, covering not only construction, economic development, supply chain, and market segments, but also exploring the vibrant tapestry of diversity within the construction landscape. We shed light on the intersection of local politics and its profound influence on the construction sector, while championing the remarkable contributions of women and minorities in construction. For all things Mac and Bleu, head to www.macandbleu.com, and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. I'm your host, JJ Levinsky. Now let's get into it. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Mac and Bleu. I'm your host, JJ Levinsky, CEO and co-founder of Blue Wave. Today I have Todd Hall on, who is the founder, curator, aficionado of the Phoenix YouTube Realtor. Welcome, Todd.
Thank you very much.
Little background. I don't know. I saw an article, something about you, and I was like, I got to get this SOB on here because every once in a while we just got to break it up. When we rebranded from Building Arizona to Building the Future, I thought it'd be like, oh, I get you on. It's another testimony and kind of an idea of how people can leverage a platform to not only better themselves, their business, but their personal brand, their business brand, all that kind of stuff. So, but before we get into that, you know how this works, Todd. Everyone wants to know a little bit about you, like your background and stuff. And the first thing I saw is he's a Costco baby. From Kirkland, Washington. So come on, you got to tell the story.
That's right, Kirkland, Washington. Well, so I grew up in Kirkland. I mean, I've lived in Phoenix Metro, Scottsdale primarily since 2004.
Oh, so
but interestingly enough, so in the 90s is when I grew up in Kirkland. And so I had friends that...
Pre-Costco.
I had friends working in the very first Costco, and Costco, I believe, was one store in Kirkland.
Really?
So some of my high school buddies were actually working in that Costco, and I'm pretty sure at the time, I mean, back in the early 90s, I'm pretty sure at the time that was the only Costco. So, yeah, that's probably the most interesting thing.
So you've been here, almost 20 years then?
I've been here almost 20. 2004 is when I moved. I moved out here March 2004.
Okay.
Yep.
So were you always in the real estate space?
Yeah. So, you know, I started real estate in 1999, which I hesitate to say because I don't feel that old.
You're a recovering real estate guy?
Yeah, I don't feel that old. But yeah, 1999, crazy to think about. It started in Las Vegas. So
really?
I moved. So my interests growing up were, I went to school, Washington State. I went to school for hotel restaurant. Yep, Coug. I'm a Coug.
Okay.
Proudly this year because we are winning so far, 3-0 so far. So I'll let you know in a few weeks if I'm still a proud Coug, but so far so
Man
good.
without a conference, but you're a good team.
Pac-2. We got Pac-2. So look, I mean,
and you beat the other half of the Pac-2.
I was just going to say, I mean, if we stay Pac-2, then we're almost assured 11-0 every year if we just keep beating up on Oregon State. So we should be in good shape.
A Cougar beating up a Beaver.
Yeah, that's
all
right.
good.
Yeah, it's pretty much every time, right? That's got to be an 11-0. So anyway, so I my interests growing up were, I wanted to own restaurants or sports bars, but my other interest was real estate. Okay. And so coming out of college, I actually went down to Disney. I lived in Orlando for 4 years, worked at Disney, did an internship out of college, went through a little bit of an internship there in a restaurant, really nice 5-star restaurant down in right on the water across from the Magic Kingdom, just overlooking it. It was amazing. The experience wasn't amazing. And so anyway, it was one of those, it was kind of a culture thing with Disney where...
were they going through an identity crisis at the time or what?
No, it wasn't so much an identity crisis. What it was that in managers back then, they were making $30,000, $40,000 a year. Servers were making about $70,000 a year in that restaurant, which this is mid 90s.
Right.
So they were making good money. But what they would do is they'd take the managers and they'd move them around from restaurant to restaurant to give them experience. But these servers were walking all over them.
Right.
And I looked at that. I was like, "There's no way. I don't want."
That paradigm
I had
was
that one
up,
experience, which probably was just an anomaly, honestly. But I had that one experience like, this is not my industry. This isn't what I want to do. So my other interest growing up was always real estate.
So that was the time when you basically bailed on F&B?
Yeah.
In your mind, at least?
In my mind. Yeah. In my mind, yeah. So what I did was I continued to work in F&B. I stayed in Orlando for a couple more years and met a girl actually at my bar. It was bartending at a place called the Peabody, which is really well known in Orlando and in Tennessee. But anyway, so I was bartending there and met a girl one night that was from Vegas, and she said, "Hey, come out and check it out. You can stay with me." And she was just a friend, but she said, "You can stay with me. Come check it out." Because I told her I was interested in Vegas mainly because of real estate. I also wanted to get back to the West Coast. A little bit closer to home, not home, but closer to home. And Vegas just seemed like a cool spot. So I started, that's when I got licensed. 1999 is when I got licensed in Las Vegas. And then I moved,
Did you start in the residential, I assumed?
I didn't start in real estate right away. So I moved there in late 96. I didn't start, yes, but I didn't actually start real estate till 1999. I still kind of was in the hotel restaurant space.
Okay.
I was still bartending.
Kind of a conducive market.
Yeah. I mean, I was still young, bachelor, so I was still bartending, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, I got to get out of this. This isn't my future. You know, and I had buddies that were 50 years old bartending. They were doing all right, and they were having fun, but I'm like, that's not my future. So anyway, finally a buddy, I always wanted to be a real estate investor is what I really wanted to be. I didn't want to sell real estate at all.
The investment side, yeah.
And I had a buddy one day who said, "Hey, if you want to be an investor, you should go get your license. You'll have MLS access." And so I got my license, and the way to get out of bartending was to actually sell some real estate so I could actually get out of that space. And here I am 24 years later, still doing a little bit of both, mostly sales though. I don't compete with my investors in terms of the properties that I sell. And then people say, why are you not investing more? And it's like, because I have a lot of investor clients. In fact, I built my initial business on 85% investors, which is how I ended up in Phoenix.
Well, slow down and just walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah. So backing up to that. So what I did back in 2001, median home prices in Las Vegas and Phoenix were about $160,000, both cities.
Okay.
What I did is I started networking with California. What I was really doing, kind of as spam was becoming a thing, I was emailing real estate agents in California saying, "Hey, a lot of people are coming this way. Our median home prices are cheap. Your prices are expensive." And so I built my initial business networking with California real estate agents. They started sending me investor referrals, and we started doing stuff in Vegas. But as we started to build in Vegas, median home prices took off. So median home prices over the course of 2000, by the end of 2000 or by mid 2003, median home prices had shot from 160 up into the high twos. And I couldn't justify those investments for my clients anymore based on, prices had gone up so fast, rents didn't keep up.
Got it.
Because most of my clients were just buying rental properties, right? Okay. A lot of them were novice, first-time investors.
So because I was going to ask, hold it, if it was, versus the rental income versus the true equity play. Okay, keep going.
So what I did, so mid 2003, I saw this. I'm like, I have to do something with these people. Well, I had family down here, so my brother lived down here. I came down and visited him once, and I was driving. He was living in the East Valley, and I started driving through the East Valley, and all I saw was builder signs everywhere. $150,000, and I'm looking at it, I'm going, this is Vegas all over again. This is actually, I just lived through this, and median home prices are still sitting right where Vegas home prices were 2 years prior. And so,
through your lens, Las Vegas shot up, but Phoenix held stable then. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, modest growth.
Or modest growth versus Las Vegas shot. Yeah. Okay.
Vegas shot up. Phoenix stayed, it was probably growing at 3 to 4%, just normal, healthy, fairly stable market.
Okay.
And so, I looked at it, and instantly in my mind, I'm like, I'm moving to Phoenix, and I'm moving all my investors with me. And so it took me a while. Unfortunately, it took me a little while to actually get completely licensed and ready to go down here. Moved my investors March of 2004. And May of 2004, guess what happened to the Phoenix market? Freaking skyrocketed. It just took off. So I had instantly just right away put 20 under contract. Just people I had ready to go, had money to spend. They wanted a piece of the market. And by the way, the reason we moved them into the Phoenix market was because they were all coming from California. So it was still a neighboring state, which is why I was like, you know what? Arizona is the next logical spot for all these people that are looking for somewhere to put their money. They can't put it in California. They no longer want to put it in Vegas. Where are they going to go next? And so I said, you know what? Phoenix is that logical spot. When I saw median prices, low taxes, it was an instant replay. So yeah, so that's how I ended up here in 2004. At the time, 85%, up until 08, 85% of my clients were investors. Yeah.
How did you, the dark times of the crash, how did you survive and what did you do through those times?
Oh man. So I didn't survive it, honestly.
Well, at least you're honest.
Well, so one of the things that, interestingly enough, one of the things that I do take pride in is the ability to pivot. But in 08, I didn't pivot.
Okay.
I continued to try to make my business model work. And in fact, the market got a little dicey here in Phoenix in 05. If you remember, I mean,
I wasn't here yet, but keep going.
Late 05. So what happened in 04 when this market took off is it took about the same. It took about a year and a half for prices to get really high. And so in late 05, 06, what happened was builders overbuilt. They were buying up all that East Valley land that I was talking about, hand over fist. So they had all this land. They started to develop all of it, almost simultaneously with purchasing it. But the other thing that happened was the investors back then were just looking for a quick buck. Right? They weren't. I always gave them a mindset of, hey, we're on a 10-year plan. I'm not going to guarantee what's going to happen over 2 years. But what did happen was prices had gone up, 60% or whatever. And so what happened in 06, not only did builders overdevelop, but investors started to dump. And it created this massive amount of inventory on the market. And so actually this market got hit pretty good in late 05, 06 before the 08 crash ever came around. 08 was a different animal because it was
credit.
It was a real estate related crash. Yeah. And so, so what I was going to say about 06 is, so what I did is I did pivot. In 06, I pivoted and I started moving investors into Dallas. Oh. And I didn't move to Dallas. I didn't get licensed in Dallas, but I started running. I found an agent that I could run my deals through, and I actually gave him a referral fee, and I took the majority of it because I was bringing the investor. I was just using his license to facilitate the deals, and so in 06 I did pivot. I pivoted really well. In 08 I didn't pivot. Everybody was pivoting into short sales and foreclosures. And I kept trying to make my model work. I really didn't have anywhere else to move my investors. And so I actually got chased out of the business. 5 years I spent on cruise ships, working on cruise ships, just as a shelter, honestly, really, truly as a shelter from the economy. And I had no intentions of getting back into the real estate business at that point. It had eaten me up and spit me out in 2008, to be completely honest.
Well, Todd, thanks for your humility and your honesty.
Mm-hmm.
You can say
it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's everything is about a learning experience. Yeah. The most successful people, and I'm not saying that that's me, but I mean the most successful people have all failed. Oh. Tell me somebody that hasn't failed, and I failed. I failed in 08 miserably. Yeah.
So after the Iceberg hit you in the head on the Alaskan cruise, then what got you back in the biz?
So. At the time, my girlfriend at the time, who ended up being a fiance shortly after I got onto cruise ships, we got married. She joined me on cruise ships, and she wasn't feeling it, right? I mean, it was just one of those things where it has a shelf life, right? Living on a cruise ship has a shelf life, and she had hit her shelf life, and I was still down. I mean, we were making a lot of money, and it was all going into saving. I mean, it was all going into investment and savings.
Because what expenses do you have out there? Right.
I had a storage unit here, and I had a bar tab there. I mean, I hope they weren't inverted. literally. I mean, that's what it was. And So, but it had a shelf life. And so we got back, and she had some opportunities in the recruiting business, which is what she's in now. We're not together anymore, but she's still in that business. And I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, I had this bad taste in my mouth about real estate, had zero interest of getting back into it. And but I kept looking around at opportunities and trying some different business ventures, and it just wasn't working. And I'm like, I can't make the kind of money I'm used to making unless I go back into real estate. And it's also a business I know very well. So that's when I got back in, somewhere around 2014, 2015. Wasn't enjoying it. I was doing it because it was necessary, but I wasn't at that time. I wasn't actually enjoying it.
But it was a means for you to live off of. It was a job.
It was a job, and it was different because now all my clients weren't investors anymore, which is what I love doing because it's what I originally built.
Right.
But now it was like, it was just it was that traditional real estate agent, and I'm not really a traditional person. You know what I mean? Like,
Todd's the funky chicken.
I'm not the guy that likes to go along with the norm. I don't, and don't get me wrong. There's things that in real estate that work, but as a general rule, the real estate population as real estate agents are sheep. Everybody does the same thing and wonders why clients treat them like commodities.
The definition of insanity, doing the same shit, expecting different results.
Correct. I mean, if you have 3 people that go on a listing appointment, they all say the same thing. You're going to choose the guy with the most charisma, the guy that has the most experience. There's something, but it's not going to be because of the marketing plan, because all 3 were the same. Yeah. So for me, I've always just kind of despised not despised, that's not the right word, but I always had this thing about real estate that, man, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it differently than everybody else. Not completely differently. I'm going to use the things that work, but I'm going to differentiate myself in some way. And so, and at the time, I wasn't differentiating myself. I was working on a team as a real estate agent with no investors to work with. And yeah, so anyway, at the time, I definitely wasn't enjoying the real estate business.
So when was the breakthrough moment?
YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
YouTube. So I 2017, my wife at the time wanted to change the scenery. So we moved to I was in real estate. I was doing okay.
But you're here now. You were here.
Yeah, we were here in 16.
Okay.
In 17, we moved to Miami for a year.
Oh.
So I wasn't so established that I couldn't pick up and move, although I was starting to reestablish in the real estate business. She could move her business anywhere as a recruiter. She needs a phone and a laptop.
Okay.
And so we moved to 17. We moved to Miami in 17 and kind of came running back in 18. And then once again, I'm like, what the heck am I going to do? So I found a company called EXP, which is where I'm at now, aligned with some really, really cool people. But anyway, so I found the company, was really excited about the business model. So that started to get me excited about the business again. In 18, I was thinking about starting a YouTube channel. I had this great idea.
Hold on, let me interrupt you.
Yeah.
What at EXP, you talk about the differentiator. What at that time in 18 with EXP, what was the excitement? Can you talk about it, or was it secret?
Yeah, no, the excitement is it was more than just a real estate agent business model. It's an entrepreneur business model, and it's a retirement business model.
And, okay, so what does that define that?
Yeah, so several things. I mean, there's a long list, but really what got me excited about it was the opportunity to build the residual income, to actually bring in and recruit other agents into the company, not just locally, not just to build a local team, but to build what's now an international team, to be able to build internationally and actually help other agents with their success as well. Then there's also stock opportunities and different stuff like that. So it was really more of a wealth building model than a real estate agent commission-based model.
Got it.
You know, we all know real estate agents that are 70 years old that have been in the business for 50 years and they're still sticking out open house signs in 115 degrees in the summer, and they have a smile on their face, but they're not doing it because they love it. They're doing it because they have to. Yeah. And so I just didn't want to be that person. And so when I saw the wealth model at EXP, I was like, I wish this would have been around in 1999. And I wish I would have gotten in on the beginning stages. So there's always the I wish, but there's never a bad time to get into the right model. And so it's a model that just, for me, there's nothing else like it and probably never will be. But anyway, so yeah, so that started to get me excited about the business again.
And then, okay, so now are we almost up to the YouTube moment in time?
Yeah, so 2018 is when I actually started thinking about building a YouTube channel, but I didn't have the courage to do it because I knew how much work it was going to be, right?
All right, so that's the second time I've heard Todd's honesty and humility.
Hey, man. It's like, that's the journey.
I went on the cruise ship, number one, and number two, I'm back to. I think I'm there, but I'm kind of not there.
That's the journey. I wanted to build a YouTube channel, and I had a vision, and it's the same vision as what I ended up creating. It's called Phoenix Homes and Hotspots, and it was really tying homes and communities with what's happening around it, right? So. Anyway, I'll get to that in a second, but I had the vision in 2018, but the model wasn't proven. And I knew how much work it was going to be. I knew nothing about YouTube.
Now, was there somebody else in another segment? Who was your virtual mentor at the time? Who did you spy on?
And see, that was just it. There wasn't anybody.
Oh.
That was just it. That's why I didn't do it in 2018.
Got it.
Because there wasn't anybody. No, I didn't see anybody that had proven the model. And so I didn't want to jump in knowing how much time it was going to take me and not knowing whether it would be successful or not.
Okay.
And so what happened was I'm part of a coaching program where I saw some other guys that had actually proven the model a couple years later. What was it? Early 2021, I guess it was. I saw some guys that had proven the model, and right away I'm like, and they were selling a course. I'm like, I'm buying the course and I'm going all in on this because this thought was lingering, this idea was lingering in my mind for years, and I knew it would work. I knew there was a market for it. I didn't know how well it would work. I didn't know how long it would take and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so early 21, I believe, is when I launched my YouTube channel finally, because I saw some other guys that actually, as you said,
right,
they actually did prove the model and they kind of cracked the code. And so, yeah, that's when I launched it.
There comes a time when dreams become a reality, when you see your vision materialize into a true work of art. And the only way to get there is to choose a general contractor who shares that same vision and knows how to bring it to life. At Blue Wave, we aren't so big that we've forgotten where we've come from, and we aren't so small that we can't care for your projects regardless of their size. When your vision deserves safety, perfection, timeliness, and expertise in order to become a reality, trust Blue Wave to get it done right the first time.
So when you launched, were you bootstrapping it all yourself? Did you have people helping you? Was it just the Todd Hall experiment, or what was, like, who was in your corner?
Yeah, well, as far as bootstrapping it, that's the great thing about YouTube is that it's time, it's not money, right? It's all free. I'm not running ads, I'm just posting videos that people, they either love or they don't.
Hate it, yeah.
So they're either in the market or they're not, is the way I should say that, right? I mean, they're either my target audience or they're not. But yes, it was all me. And in fact, up until a couple of weeks ago, I finally hired a video editor.
Oh, wow.
And it's a lot of work, as you know. I mean, even just producing your podcast, because you're doing audio and video. So between the two, you're producing two different things, and then you're blasting it out all over all the platforms, I'm assuming. So up until a couple of weeks ago, it was all me. I was doing everything. I was writing it, and when I say writing it, I was outlining what I wanted to do. I was shooting it. I was editing it. I was posting it. I was doing the whole thing, and it's a lot, man. It's burnout. And so anyway, I just hired a video editor for the first time, and the reason I was hesitant to do it is because my videos are a story.
Right.
I'm telling a story, and I feel like I'm the one that needs to tell the story. So how is a video editor from another state going to know when to put my B-roll into a community video? Yeah. And I still haven't completely worked through it. I mean, we're starting to work through it now because I finally took that leap and said, you know what, I can't keep doing this on my own because I'm just have too many projects on my plate. So anyway, I finally did it. But yeah, up until a few weeks ago, I was doing absolutely everything.
So let's go back to the first few months when you launched, Todd.
Yeah.
And again, think of the audience when they either see or listen to this, they're going to want to go and it's almost like we have to tell a story now so they can go watch it and then act kind of, what's the word I'm looking like, validate your story that hopefully we're broadcasting today but those first few months, what was it? Were you actually trying to sell stuff, or were you truly just telling the story, or was it a combination of both? Like, take the audience through the first few months of when you launched it like, give me an example of a video that you can succinctly remember that kind of changed your disposition with what you were going to do with this.
Well, so it's not really selling. I mean, it's all about attraction. So it's all about giving value to attract.
Bingo.
Right? That's the beauty of YouTube. I'm not selling anything. Yeah, I want people to subscribe. I want them to like the video. I want them to comment. I need them to do those things for the algorithm. But that's what ranks my video. But at the end of the day, I'm not selling anything. I'm not even monetized, nor do I probably have an interest in monetizing my channel. I know a lot of people do it. I have my own commercials inside my own YouTube channels now.
Oh.
Right? So I kind of put my own stuff. commercial meaning, hey, if you need a great lender, I got the best. Or, hey, now I have a Facebook group that if you want more hotspot tips about Phoenix Metro or Scottsdale.
There you go.
So now it's not a commercial selling anything. It's redirecting them to other resources that they could use that play hand in hand with my YouTube channel.
Got it.
So that's what I mean when I say commercial. There's no money changing hands other than just working with clients.
What was the there was a question I was going to ask you, but did you not launch a new investor type thing embedded in this? And what does that look like and how does it work?
Yeah. So I have an investor program that we're launching now. Going back kind of to my investment background is my passion. I see a great window and an opportunity in the market right now. So yes, inside of my YouTube channel, I do put up some investor videos. It's going to get more extensive now with this new program launch. I've worked with several investors just from some videos I've posted in the past on my YouTube channel. So the YouTube channel, again, kind of going back, and one of the questions you asked is what was the kind of that key video that launched it? It wasn't an investor video. It was just a pros and cons of Scottsdale that went viral.
Oh,
I mean, it went viral, meaning that YouTube ranked it really well. So under Scottsdale AZ, which is searched 100,000 plus times a month, YouTube kept it there for 6 to 9 months in the top 3 or 4 spots. So it just kept getting pounded. And then what happens on YouTube is they watch that video and it leads them to another. And then all of a sudden they're binge watching my videos.
Okay.
Right. So it's all about getting some of those videos ranked high enough where YouTube algorithm picks it up, they rank it, and once you get a few of those videos to rank towards the top and stay there, then it starts to go viral. So that Scottsdale pros and cons was that first signature video that really made me go, yeah, and that's when it really started to work.
Yeah.
That's when it really started to work.
Now, be humble. You didn't plan that, did you?
It was one of the worst videos I've shot. I literally, some of my first videos, I've shot some videos that I didn't want to post. Not this one. This one I had full intentions of posting. But I was standing out in my backyard with a green screen behind me, acting like I was in Troon North. Or in Troon.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, and a few videos later, I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Why don't I just go up there and shoot it? So now I shoot everything in the field. I mean, unless I'm doing a market update video from my, my condo or something like that. But yeah, no, that video is, when I look back, I'm like, man, I was standing in front of a green screen. How lame.
So knowing what you know now, and let's say someone in the audience they hear your story and go, oh, finally. So I finally have the encouragement and the hope because if Todd can do it, damn it, I can do it. What advice would you give to those people?
Pack your lunch. Pack your lunch and create a great strategy before you jump in, because it's not about shooting, editing, and posting a video. It's all about, first of all, you have to make sure that your content is engaging and that people will watch it. And so you have to have a strategy around that. But there's also so many little details about feeding the YouTube algorithm, and it's constantly changing. Yeah. It's like any other social media platform. You have to appease the algorithm, and whatever algorithm is happening right now today, not the algorithm from 3 months ago or 6 months ago. So you really do need some mentorship. And something ongoing, some ongoing education to make sure that you're still current. I mean, I'm updating things this week that I didn't realize. I fell a little bit out of sync with the current algorithm and out of sync with some things that are currently happening. I mean, just this week, I'm making some transitions and conversions. In fact, I was doing it before I got here today on some of my videos. So so I would say, but when I say pack your lunch, I'm not trying to discourage people. I'm just trying to tell people it's a lot of work, man. It seems glamorous until you start putting the work in. Some of my videos, like I name a lot of my videos. So I have kind of a living and playing series where I'll go into a specific community like DC Ranch, Old Town Scottsdale. I'll do McCormick Ranch. I'll do a living and playing, or Paradise Valley. Mm-hmm. And they take a lot of B-roll for me to tell my story the way I want to tell it. They take a lot of but they just take a lot of time, and inserting all that B-roll in the right places. I mean, some of these videos, again, remembering I've done a lot of this on my own in the past, have taken me 18 to 24 total hours to produce one video.
Oh, wow.
And then I don't know if the video is going to do well or not.
It's a big gamble.
It's a big gamble. So anyway, so that's what I mean when I say pack your lunch. I don't discourage people from doing it. I think it's a great idea. There are more and more people starting to do it now. I still think that there's an opportunity. I would say align yourself with somebody. And oh, by the way, EXP. So I'm working with some guys that are doing YouTube down in the East Valley. We're all aligned, and I'm working with one of the top social media influencers, real estate influencers in the world, by the name of Mike Sherrard. We're all doing YouTube. So if there's somebody out there watching that wants to do YouTube, aligning with us would be a really good idea, because that's kind of that ongoing mentorship and staying up with all the market updates. So anybody would have an opportunity if they wanted to align with us on that as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shoot, there was some other. You're so engaged. My ADD kicked in and I forgot what I was going to ask you.
I do that twice a day.
Hey, go back to, I know I wanted to ask you this question about something about your preferred home finder program.
Yeah.
Is that a separate thing, or do you have that tied into what you're doing with the videos, or both?
No, it's separate. I mean, so the investor, I do some investor videos, and I do have that investor platform that we're now doing. The Preferred Home Finder program is really a sign of the times.
Do you mind sharing what it is?
For sure. So the Preferred Home Finder program basically just says, if you can't find the house on the market, we'll go find it for you.
Oh.
And we have a system to do that, and we have an effective system to do it. But the reason that that's so valuable right now is because inventory is so low.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people out there looking for homes that just can't find what they're looking for, so they just keep sitting on the sideline. Or you have a home seller that actually wants to sell. They want to upsize, they want to downsize, but they don't want to do it either A, because they have a low interest rate and a lot of equity, but a lot of people don't realize B is because they're afraid they can't find a house to move to because the inventory is so low. So the Preferred Home Finder program just helps us bridge that gap for a buyer client that could be a seller as well, but somebody that ultimately wants to buy a home that we say, hey, look, and we're, as far as I know, we're the only ones doing it here in the Phoenix Metro. I don't know anybody else doing. I'm not saying nobody else is doing. I don't know of anybody
you just don't know.
doing that. And so that's what that is. And that's a sign of the times. That's kind of that pivot we talked about earlier. Right, is taking something that's happening in the market right now and effectively pivoting to make sure that we continue to build a market, as opposed to just let people sit and wait it out. And then we're just being proactive in finding those homes for them.
What, through all of your different engagements, if you want to call it that, what else is going on in the short-term rental space with you, or what's the market bringing to you or dictating to you?
Yeah, so the short-term rental market is kind of a fluid market from a standpoint of some of the things that are happening with local jurisdictions and stuff like that, right? They're like Scottsdale.
They're clamping down, or what?
They're discussing different things. From my understanding, the Phoenix market is still one of the most liberal markets in terms of being allowed to do short-term rentals. And there's still a lot of opportunity, although it did slow down a little bit earlier this year. There were some people that, for whatever reason, with the Super Bowl and everything happening earlier this year, there was a little bit of a slowdown. I don't know if that's a blip or not, but I do know that there's still a lot of opportunity. I still know that the right homes, the best homes, in the best locations are still 60% occupancy, which is pretty good, remembering that most of that income's coming January through March anyway. So I kind of teach a hybrid.
3 month revenue stream.
Yeah, well, but I teach a hybrid.
Amortized over, yeah.
Right. I teach a hybrid approach, right? So I say, look, what you're gonna do is you're gonna Airbnb this thing January through March, maybe a little bit into April. Then what we're gonna do is it's still furnished, so we're still gonna do a short-term rental, but we're gonna do 2 to 3 month rentals with people that are here looking for a home, waiting for their home to be built, trying to decide what the heck they're gonna do, or maybe they are just here vacationing in October and November. So what we're looking for now is, instead of weekend rentals, we're looking for people that will come in for 2 to 3 months.
Got it.
That way we can keep it more occupied a little bit more. Now, with that being said, if you have the right house in the right location and you're managing it properly, you can still get throughout the year about a 60% occupancy, which is pretty strong income as long as you've maximized January through March. 60% is pretty good. You can build a pretty strong income, or a pretty strong cash flow with that.
Okay, so the performers still work at that then, is what you're saying.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That would be a really good. That would be a good occupancy. Is 60%. You're making money. You should be making money at 60% occupancy.
Now, are you doing this just as what you're seeing, your involvement? Is it more B2B, or is this actually investment portfolio stuff? Back to your kind of investor days.
Yeah, it's
a little bit of both.
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
It's whoever wants to get involved. It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
It's a little bit and by the way, not everybody is so from a short-term rental standpoint, not all of my investors that we're starting to build now are short-term. Some of them are just buying long-term.
Okay.
So
that answered the question. Yeah.
So I like to call it we buy pretty houses, right? Like we're not looking for junk. Junk is a job. So what we're doing with our investors now, and again, this is a program I'm rolling out in the coming weeks. It's still I just wrote a book, by the way. So I just finished
in your spare time.
So I just finished that project. So now, but with this investor project, it's gonna be both, right? It's gonna be short term, long term. We buy pretty houses, and what we're really doing is we're taking people that want to fund their kids' education, they want to fund their retirement, or they're just sitting on money and don't know what to do with it. They don't want to put it in the stock market. They say, hey, if I could make an 8% give or take return over here, and it's hands free for me. Right? So we take it, we find the property. Once we close on the property, we kick it over to a property manager. It's all built in, whether it's a short-term property manager or a long-term property manager, depending on what the objective is with the property. And the investor doesn't have to lift a finger. They're collecting mailbox money. In a perfect world, they're cash buyers. We're not looking for the hedge funds. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't work with a hedge fund, but that's not our, I'm looking for the guy that wants 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, 1 to 5 properties that he can build a solid retirement or again, fund the kids' education.
Yeah.
And when you run the numbers, all it takes is one property for 10, 15 years easily funds your kid's education as long as it's performing. So so it's just a turnkey. We buy pretty houses. That's the best way to actually say.
And part two, as long as your kid isn't a shithead.
Yeah. Or just give the if they don't go to college, then
the Tommy Boy plan.
Yeah.
No, Mom, Dad, it just took me 7 years to get an undergrad. So
right.
Hey, you're high energy, but how do you? It's been. I always got to go on the personal side. So you were honest enough saying you were divorced, I assume, and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But what keeps you going, like outside of work? Like you're obviously hit the gym once in your life. I mean,
the gym. The gym.
What else do you do?
Gym and kids.
Gym and kids.
Gym and kids. Yeah. I mean, for me, and work. Yeah. I started out by saying I was not enjoying real estate back in 15, 16.
Yeah.
I love it now.
Yeah.
So
what is it like? Talk. Maybe it's kind of spiritual or whatever, but what is it now that gets you excited about that? You said you love it, but what is it? What's the tangible part that you love?
I love creating. I mean, it's like I said, I don't like to go along to get along. I'm not, I hate to knock the industry, but people really do have a sheep mentality. It's really like how put a little creativity, put a little effort into it, and that's not everybody. I'm not saying that's everybody in the industry. No. I'm just saying there's so much of that. And I get it. If you're brand new, you're gonna take things that work and you're gonna implement them. But again, one of the hardest things about the real estate industry is being treated like a commodity. And I refuse to be treated like a commodity because I'm just different. What I do in the industry is so much different in many cases. I'm not saying that I don't take professional photographs and do drone video. Of course we do the stuff that works, right. But I'm taking that stuff and now incorporating my own spin into a listing. So as an example, going back to YouTube, real estate agents talk a lot about lifestyle, but they don't market lifestyle, right?
They still market product, right?
They market product. They market the home. Everybody markets the home, some better than others.
True. But
everybody markets the home. Who's marketing the lifestyle around the home? I want to know if I'm coming from California or anywhere, if I'm coming from Tucson, or if I'm moving to Scottsdale from Gilbert, maybe even, if I'm coming from out of the area and I say, hey, I found this great house on Zillow in DC Ranch. House looks great. I know nothing about, I might do some Google searches and whatever, or I might do a YouTube search and find me, right? But when I'm marketing the house, I'm marketing the lifestyle. I've already done it.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not just marketing a house, I'm actually marketing the community of DC Ranch. And I'm marketing, hey, where are the best restaurants? Where's the best nightlife? The bars, the shopping, hospitals.
Schools, all the things that matter. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so what I do is I stack a lot of those videos too. So I'll do a living and playing in DC Ranch, then I'll do a pros and cons, then I'll do a virtual tour, and I start to stack them so you literally can binge watch the videos, and you can just go through and you can get pretty much every question you want answered about that community once I'm finished stacking. And then I'll start stacking market updates on it on a monthly basis or whatever.
There comes a time when dreams become a reality, when you see your vision materialize into a true work of art. And the only way to get there is to choose a general contractor who shares that same vision and knows how to bring it to life. At Blue Wave, we aren't so big that we've forgotten where we've come from, and we aren't so small that we can't care for your projects regardless of their size. When your vision deserves safety, perfection, timeliness, and expertise in order to become a reality, trust Blue Wave to get it done right the first time.
So
I don't know where I saw it, and I hate to always go to the same resources, but by the time this airs, this will probably be old news. But there was something about Verado out in Buckeye, and they did that whole lifestyle modeling.
Yeah,
and their the returns that they got from the California market versus something traditional that would have been like Central or East Valley, like you said, a product-based thing.
Yeah,
it was freaky. This article kind of describing how it's selling like hotcakes because people are buying into the lifestyle.
Right.
They'll figure out how to get the house closed. But they want that lifestyle.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's everything. And
or
again,
like Heath Melton was on here with Howard Hughes Corporation, where the mega community they're building out Teravalis.
Yeah.
And same thing. The people that are tapping into that are successful.
Yeah.
And the organizations.
Yeah, and it's talked about a lot inside the industry, but who's really doing it? It's like lifestyle. People even have it in their websites,
group, yeah.
Scottsdale Lifestyle or whatever. Well, are you marketing it though? I mean, what does that mean? The home isn't the lifestyle. The home is where you're going to live. And yes, I want to love my home, right? I always say the right home in the wrong community is probably the wrong home, right? I mean, the home marketing, everybody does it. Again, like I said, some better than others. But so everything. But that's the difference. Again, when you ask, hey, what's the passion about now versus when I just didn't love the business back then? And it's my ability to create and make those pivots that maybe I didn't do so well back in 2008.
The cool part is once you've done it once, you now have the capacity, the confidence to do it again, right?
For sure.
Yeah. Hey, so let's go back to the YouTube specific stuff. How has that journey opened up opportunities and allowed you to be a different version of yourself? Like, get a little deep here. Like let's just say the last year and a half, what has it allowed you to do for you?
Well,
in your business, in whatever. Because it had to have opened up some doors for you.
What it's really done is built a new energy in me more than anything else. It's built a fire that I didn't have, stronger than even back in my investor days. And so that's really what it did, was it built the fire. It also built a revenue stream where initially I was just saying, hey, I could just make a living off of YouTube and just have put all my eggs in this basket, right? And I'm starting to realize that things do evolve. And so what it's allowed me to do is build an income where I could branch out and do some of the other things, like write a book, which is specifically towards divorced individuals, right? I wrote a whole book about how to sell your home if you're going through a divorce, and that just launched that, and networking with divorce attorneys. Getting ready to do the same thing with probate. And so, like I said, so it's been a springboard is what it's been, not only for my personal energy, but also the ability now to take that and say, you know what, YouTube isn't the end all be all. It's a great platform, but I want to build more than that. And part of that building more sometimes is just creating and keeping myself busy and keeping projects on my plate. But on a personal level, you know, just doing YouTube, now I'm starting to put so much on my plate that I have to make sure I balance that family time in. But really what YouTube was doing for me is also giving me a lot of time to spend with my kids when I'm with them. So yeah, all that.
Good. What hey, what have I failed to ask you as the host here? Like what's in the, how does Todd Hall want to talk about either what you're doing, what you've done, you know, how to connect with the audience as far as what you'd like to share with them about your own personal journey or inspiring others to kind of go down your path?
Yeah, I think I covered my personal journey pretty well. There's a lot of details I could put in there, but I probably shouldn't.
That's fine. Respectfully, yeah.
But no, I mean, I think first and foremost, I would say if you're a real estate agent, and I'm sincere in this, align with us if this is something that you're interested in. And it doesn't have to be just YouTube. So today for me, my business isn't just YouTube. It's all the social media platforms. Yeah. Every morning I get up at 5:30 and my first 2 hours of the day is scheduling all of my posts across all of the platforms. The cool thing about YouTube is I can now take all my old long form and there's great software that actually just cuts it right down for me into shorts. And so so you know, a lot of software actually does a lot of my work for me, which is nice. I've built 2 Facebook groups. I built Scottsdale Communities and Hotspots, which is really an opportunity kind of a little bit like yourself to give back to the community a little bit. But it's also a platform where somebody that's coming from out of state can use that just like they can use my YouTube channel. So Scottsdale Communities and Hotspots is just a little bit more focused on hotspots, although I will put some of my community videos inside of the group. But it's really just promoting local businesses and local restaurants, golf, you know, some of these new putt-putt golf places that are coming out, or entertainment venues, hiking trails, whatever that might look like. So we're getting ready to do some live events out of that too. And again, just I don't charge anybody anything as far as the businesses. We may have some sponsors do some stuff so we can do some giveaways and some fun stuff to draw more people. So anyway, but yeah, so I'm just always working on something, man. But it's also just a matter of time blocking to where I can fit it all in, because it is a lot. And so, you know, like the groups, but again, you know, the groups are just part of that 2-hour time block in the morning. It's just that, so the 2-hour social media block at 5:30 to 7:30 before I go to the gym.
Go back to the lifestyle thing. It just kind of dawned on me. I should ask you this question. Is it fair to say that most of the lifestyle stuff is focused, I'm talking specifically real estate brokerage and agency, on residential? But have we talked about how is there an overlap and a connection in your kind of ecosystem with commercial as well? Like have we crossed that bridge?
I don't know if there's an overlap there or not. I've sold some commercial over the years, primarily when I had partners that knew what they were doing, because I don't. Unless it's multifamily. I've done a little bit of multifamily on my own as it pertains to commercial, like anything over 4 units. I haven't done a lot of it. I don't know if there's an overlap with lifestyle and commercial, because commercial is really, I don't promote lifestyle to my investors. I mean, yeah, we want to talk about where the most profitable areas are and why Old Town Scottsdale is such a great place to own rental real estate, residential real estate. Certainly that's part of what we're talking about, but they don't care about the lifestyle. They care about
the return.
And so commercial is kind of the same way. So I don't know if there's an overlap there or not. If I were a commercial agent, I probably wouldn't do it. I might start a YouTube channel, but I wouldn't do it the way that I'm doing it. Not leading with lifestyle.
And you did a great job of answering it, but I felt like as the host, I'm like, I got to ask that question, you know? Like, is there, because I felt like we were being maybe not too myopic, but just myopic on the residential side. But it's like, hold it. Is there a cross-reference here? Is there a bridge here?
I think there's opportunity on YouTube for the commercial space. I don't think I would lead with lifestyle.
Got it. Fair question. All right, Todd, anything else you want to share, talk about, you know?
I I have some other things coming down the pipeline, but it's in the pipeline, so it's probably not worth talking about yet. We're going to do...
Do you have a call out to anybody using our platform as a... Are you seeking anybody, any input, any collaboration?
No, my call out would be to agents that want to do... I think you asked it really well earlier. Okay. If you're an agent and you think that you can go to a different level, you're interested in really, and you don't have to be in Arizona, by the way. You can be watching this from anywhere. But if you really want to align with, kind of the heavy hitters in the industry as it pertains to social media, you want to get your face out there, then yeah, you certainly, like I said, I've said it a couple times, but you certainly have an opportunity where you can align with some of the best in the business, including luxury. Our team that I've just now started to surround myself. So here's what I didn't tell you is I left EXP for 6 months. I just went back a few weeks ago, and that's when I started to align with a whole different group of people. It's a whole different level. Because again, even myself, I need the mentorship.
Who doesn't?
I want people that are performing at a higher level than me, teaching me.
You're never done learning, right?
And so, so I would say that would be one call out. The thing I was going to tell you that one of the things in the works, I'll tell you kind of what it is it's just a 7-day home listing agreement where we flood the house with 30 to 100. This is a really good program, by the way, for somebody that's had their home on the market and it didn't sell. They're kind of frustrated. They didn't get the traffic they wanted. So I won't tell you all the nuts and bolts of it right now because it's not. It's coming again right around the corner. But basically, yeah, flood the home with at least 30 up to 100 buyers over a weekend with at least 6 offers is what we should be able to do. And I have, again, through a coaching program, that's where this came from. It's being done around the country. Okay. I don't know anybody that's doing this here. So that's going to be another cool program, coming down. It doesn't have to be an expired listing. It could be a for sale by owner, or it could be anybody for that matter. Good. But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of a cool thing coming down the pipeline. But yeah, as far as call outs, I would say the biggest thing is agents. I think a lot of agents see this kind of stuff and they're like, how do I do this? And it's like, you need the step-by-step.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, Todd, thanks again for coming on. Again, for the audience sake, the Phoenix YouTube Realtor, trust me, Todd's name's out there. And it's not like you can't spell his name, Hall. It's not like Todd Hall, it's Todd Hall. Right? But thanks, brother. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
You've been listening to the Mac and Bleu Show, brought to you by Blue Wave General Contracting. Be sure to subscribe to the Mac and Bleu podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Follow JJ Levinsky on LinkedIn and Instagram. Tune in every Monday